The secrets of Orion's belt in the pyramids. Well, it was Robert Bouval who basically originally, from what I remember, told us about the pyramids of Egypt being laid out in, as we can see here on the far right, as the stars in the belt of Orion constellation. But it's not just the Egyptian pyramids that are laid out like this. Also, Mexican and China pyramids have the same type of layout. So the secrets of Orion in the pyramids. It's now known that many ancient civilizations had a special relationship with astronomy and often used it in the reconstruction of their buildings. Not only their buildings, but whole cities were constructed as map of the skies. This happened in South America, also in Greece. Now, its main application was the orientation of their buildings to the 4 points of the horizon. The pyramids of Giza in Egypt and the Sphinx were also studied from this perspective. If one looks at the pyramids astronomically, one will see many references to the celestial firmament. First of all, their orientation is perfect towards the horizon points. They point with incredible accuracy east, west, north, and south, and the Sphinx is perfectly oriented to the east. The writer says in a previous article I mentioned that inside the Great Pyramid of Cheops, from the chamber of the Queen and the King, 2 wells start, which reach the outer side of the pyramid. Egyptologists interpreted them as ventilation ducts, but another study conducted in the 1970s showed that at the time the pyramids were built, around 2,500 BC, these wells looked at 2 very important stars. The wells from the king's chamber, the shaft, I'm translating this from Greek, the shaft from the king's chamber showed Alnitak, the star of Orion's belt, and the queen's chamber, Sirius. The constellation of Orion represented to the ancient Egyptians the god Osiris, and Sirius to the goddess Isis, the first royal couple in Egyptian mythology. Let's go to the spatial layout of the pyramids. So, an engineer, Robert Bouval, after examining the pyramids, found that their position is the same as that of the 3 stars in the Orion belt, and in fact, in proportion to their relative brightness. The smallest pyramid corresponds to the faintest star in the constellation and is in fact slightly deviated from the imaginary line defined by the 2 largest pyramids, just like the relative star in relation to the 2 largest. Equally impressive is the shape of the Nile in the area of the pyramids, which is strikingly similar to the shape of our Milky Way galaxy in the area of the Orion belt. Even the orientation of the 3 stars in the zone towards the galaxy is the same as the orientation of the pyramids towards the Nile. The stars and their matching in the pyramids. The Sphinx, in turn, we said, looks right to the east. One would expect it to be oriented towards a constellation that resembles it, such as that of Leo, for example. If we examine with a planetary program the firmament in 2500 BC, a possible date of its construction together with the pyramids, we will see that the Sphinx sees the constellation of Taurus. When would he look at Leo? The answer is 10,500 BC at the vernal equinox. That's about the time of the Younger Dryas in the Clovis comet impact, 12,500 years ago. Now, we continue. We meet the same chronology if we try to represent the angle formed by the 2 brightest stars of the Orion belt with the celestial meridian, with that formed by the pyramids with the terrestrial meridian 45 degrees. That is, at the very moment when the star Alnitak of the Orion belt crosses the celestial meridian, its 3 stars from a 45th angle with it as do the 3 pyramids with the terrestrial meridian. We thus have a complete correspondence of the earth formations with the celestial phenomena. What did this date mean for the Egyptians? It's the time of their mythical ancestors, the mythical kings who first inhabited the land of Egypt. It is referred to as Tep Zepi, which means the first time, and is depicted on a mural in Abydos. You remember Abydos? It has the hieroglyphs of the submarines and the airplanes, the jet airplanes, the helicopters, and all the tanks and all that. So, it's depicted on the mural in Abydos. In fact, in the sky for the first time, the constellation of Orion is at the bottom of the orbit it makes in the sky due to the transition of the Earth. This orbit lasts 26,000 years and is due to the movement of the Earth's axis that marks a circle in the sky. Due to this movement, Orion first ascends and then descends to the celestial sphere, swaying left and right. This is why the three stars of the belt form an angle of 45 degrees with a meridian only at 10,500 BC. Although Bouval has gained considerable support for astronomers on this theory and a number of Egyptologists, his theory is still subject to criticism. The controversy is mainly whether Orion was known to the ancient builders, whether it was for them one or more stars, and whether the pyramid is a stellar or a solar symbol. Others accuse him that, in order to draw the parallel, he has overthrown Orion and given a purely astral character to the ancient monuments. This controversy continues to this day, with Bouval responding with numerous articles on these allegations. So, could it be from 12,500 years ago? This is translated for you from a Greek article. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.